Welcome to my video titled Jodi Arias Doing Time. I'm Carl Torspens, author, short story writer, retired deputy warden. And this video is basically set up to be a satire. For those who don't quite completely understand the use of a satire, its use of irony, sarcasm, ridicule, or anything like that in exposing, denouncing, or deriding of vice or volley. In this case, it's making fun of Jodi Arias and the situation she's created in her trial, calling it basically a media circus. But it could also be a literary composition, a verse or prose, in which human folly and vice are held up to scorn, mock, or ridicule. And there's humor in there, even though it may be sick humor to some, it's still humor. And it's used to illustrate various qualities, similarities, or traits worthy to mention in the identification of behaviors and habits. In this case, Jodi Arias, Doing Time. An analogy is a literary device that creates a relationship between the parallel connections between two ideas. It basically is to introduce a new idea, make it familiar through a new concept, easier to understand or grasp. An analogy is a personal interpretation and subject to personal views rather than scientific or truths already established and are more speculative in nature. I'm not watching her. I'm not supervising her. I'm not the one that is in charge of her. So what I'm doing is I'm speculating how she's going to do time based on my experience as a deputy warden in max custody and observing individuals that are similar to Jodi Arias. But some people missed my point. I'm using the analogy of a mushroom for Jodi Arias not to reflect weakness, but reflect characteristics. Remember, analogies are based on blueprints that can often create new prints. Mushrooms live in dark places. Prisons are such places. Mushrooms come in different species and sizes and are either edible or poisonous. Mushrooms are plentiful and parasitic in nature. They grow up quickly, they multiply, and soon out of control. Hence, the need to control a mushroom inside such a setting is very important. All mushrooms are fungi, but not all fungi are mushrooms. Keep that in mind. For those fungi that produce them, the mushroom plays a similar role to a flower or a fruit in plants as to cultivating growth. Now, that growth can be good or that growth can be evil. You decide which way Jodi Arias' personality is going to cultivate growth. Many mushrooms produce species that are decomposers. In other words, they can destroy. Some species are relatively easy to cultivate, while others are very difficult to rehabilitate or reform from their own habits and their old habits. Basically speaking, Jodi Arias' cell at Perryville Prison Complex is going to be dark, and it's going to cultivate, it's going to produce the environment that mushrooms thrive in. Remember, there are various species of mushrooms which can be eaten and be fatal, or be eaten raw and make you sick. Even if popular, these mushrooms are toxic. No matter which way you cut it, a number of species are psychoactive and cause various types of hallucinations. This is a type of toxicity, but is not known to have any long-term effects. Jodi Arias is manipulative, and her doing time, referring to her as a mushroom, was not a reference to strength or weakness. It was just used as an analogy to illustrate her settling into prison. She can let the environment attack her and wilt away, or she can adapt and remain strong if she plays the games there without losing any ground on her own plans to survive. I suspect she's strong enough to survive the setting. Regardless, J.A. is now set to do her time, will act accordingly to her nature. She's not special. The fact is, there are no such things as special species when it comes to doing time. She belongs to a predatory species who attack other people and do things to make it better for themselves, or in this case herself, using a remarkable array of trapping devices to attract, capture, or even kill in last resort situations in order to survive. The novelty of these relationships, however, have deflected attention from more fundamental role play by these people in the prison ecosystem. The primary function of predatory species appears to be control or destruction of others. Fits right into the MO of JA. They attack for the very sake of being the attacker and the aggressor, as to its nature to be aggressive and predatory. JA is predatory. The primary function of predatory species appear to be snapping or shaping, regrowth, or destroy others, either for themselves or others in charge of the various yards and races. Their psychological and physical diet are motivators to be in charge of the environment and establish some base of control and power. Giving way to a lesser power is unacceptable and rarely done in such species. Unfortunately, prisons provide unlimited opportunities for physical and mental growth and strength. In other words, the opportunity to be shaped with similar qualities JA has are high, and possibly dangerous to others interested in following her footsteps. There lies the danger of this particular individual, her influence. She has a decay effect, yet predatory in nature. In time, the environment will feed her better opportunities and better methods to become unmanageable force to be reckoned with inside the prison situation. Her predation in nature is very dramatic, although drama may be less important than the ability to destroy obstacles to her salacious appetite and her focus to be important in some way. She's a parasite. By definition, this person will stay alive and act as a parasite, living off the dead as well as the living. This reference to the dead infers to the lack of intelligence or strength of other predatory species. Thus she attacks or invades their body and makes them a threat to anyone who just wants to do time. Based on her own individual role, JA will be essentially successful through her association with others. She's an opportunist. Although she falls into the predatory yet sociable class, realizing she has certain things to need to sustain life and stay stronger, and others, she will find a way to get them. All living are parasite creatures. They feed on bacteria and possess amazing trapping devices to capture hearts and things around them. Manipulation is her main tool. Spins a web, catches her victim. In a strange way, she will gain strength and multiply. She's tricky. Time will tell if she fits in this category, but I'm almost certain she is. Regardless, she's learned the tricks to trap what is extra, her psychological and physical needs, while at the jail. She has all the signs and implications of being parasitic in nature and possess predatory habits that has attracted so much attention over the years. She's a survivor. Simply put, Jodi Arias is a toxin, a poison, and a parasite. Her main energies feed off others. She needs to be around others for her ego and to feed her supplementary needs and nutritional supplements. How she does time depends on the control mechanisms in place to keep her under control and check her activities. Fungi is the analogy used to demonstrate her desire to live of others. Keep in mind, being fungi is neither harmless nor an inactive state of mind. It is a very active and lethal if you don't control the growth. Some may argue that humanity has been wiped out by the mass fungus incarcerated and released amongst us after serving their time, as these parasites make their homes inside our bodies and minds. Not just any species, but these evil zombie-making parasites do exist. They have no social value or provide any social contributions to say of, but in reality to deal with. People like JA are body snatchers. They have been making real zombies for millions of years in order to live, and they must zombify other persons to exist. They work feverishly to get a death grip on the mind and body and position themselves for the poisonous transmission of toxins. All that remains of the human body after the transmission of toxins is an exoskeleton, a husk of a person, a follower. Even if JA don't like the host that she turns into a zombie, they will in fact turn out to be faithful undead servants and serve her vile and various purposes with her grip. Once JA finds a way to invade the bodies and mind infrastructure, she will create chaos that could come only from such bizarre demise and zombie creation. Humans serve well as hosts. They are infected species make a jump from the typical host to humans, and presumably the same way some diseases like swine flu can jump from species. Jodi Arias will create a vicious cycle of events inside the prison. Positioning her in prison is like positioning her in life to be a sniper in a blind alley. She's a chronic plague. The criminal justice essentially created a sniper's alley through which the future hosts must pass. This kind of parasite doesn't need to evolve mechanism to overcome the effective social immunity that occurs inside the nest. At the same time, it's ensured a constant supply of susceptible hosts are available. It's also suggested that the parasites can be characterized as chronic disease, as humans can be controlled but not cured. This has been consistent in activity and treatment histories. Thank you for watching my videos. Please comment and share. Remember, this is a satire. It's going to be open for interpretation, but you're welcome to comment any way you want to. As always, thank you for watching my video, and share, please.